Very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1 live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Joed Abdin.
And I'm Hashni Patirana. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Bill to revoke former president's privileges passed. SJB absent during key vote to remove former president's privileges. No confidence motion against Deputy Minister of Defence rejected. Makandure Madusha's wife files complaint demanding a formal investigation. Namal versus Deputy Minister Vatagala. Former Mayor of Moratua remanded over corruption.
And on to those stories in detail. In your top story this evening, the law to abolish monthly pensions and other entitlements for former presidents and their widows officially comes into force today.
Now, Speaker of Parliament Dr. Jagat Vikramaratne signed the bill into law this afternoon following its approval in Parliament without any amendments. During the debate, MPs from the Samagi Janabalawegaya voiced opposition to limiting the entitlements of former presidents and their widows, and however, they were not present in the chamber at the time the bill was passed.
This law is not suitable in the hands of leaders who believe they can survive by stealing public tax money. It is being abused. That's why we included this in the National People's Power Policy Declaration. Now, a government that actually implements what we said is in power. If someone is facing serious financial hardship, they can write to the president and request help. If it's genuinely difficult, I believe justice will be served. Not just in Finland, Poland, France or India. India even passed a 1997 law to pay 200,000 rupees monthly to housing secretaries. In Germany, the UK, the US, this is standard practice. There is something else going on here. The cost is just 0.001196% of our GDP. Remember, one day the people will turn against you, and when that day comes, the first to be saved will be your presidents, prime ministers and ministers.
After the
2022 people's uprising, 2 years later, the people brought a new government through elections. That wasn't random. We have always said this country is bankrupt. Both major parties took turns running it into the ground. In a collapsed nation, we are not here to talk about retired presidents in Germany, the UK, Australia or France. President Mahinda Rajapaksa spent 472.5 million rupees renovating the Vijay Rama residence during the COVID period. Is it fair to spend that kind of money while the people of this country were losing their privileges? That's the question I'm asking society. If a president faces danger because of what they did for the country, we ask for fair protection. The LTTE diaspora would love to see Mahinda Rajapaksa exposed and stripped of protection. They're happy to see his privileges cut, but you'll only understand this when Anurukumara Dissanayake faces threats from the underworld. That is when it'll hit you.
This law says nothing about removing security for former presidents. So why are we even discussing it? What's really happening here is a veiled threat to Anurukumara Dissanayake. We are not afraid of any underworld. We are not afraid to dismantle it. He does not need your protection. The people are with us and they are the real protection a president needs.
The privileges and immunity of the presidency must remain intact. There's no debate about that. Globally, we've seen presidents lose their lives even after retirement, especially in cases involving drug cartels. This act has no relevance to the security of retired presidents. Their security is provided separately. If any individual has concerns regarding their safety, there is a dedicated security risk committee in place. Once concerns are submitted to the committee, appropriate protection can be arranged. For instance, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa was provided with 111 personnel for medical and operational support, including 9 medical staff, 8 drivers, 2 clerks, 5 mechanical staff, 1 naval aide, 46 special operations personnel, 16 chefs, 26 electricians, 4 civil engineers, 4 technical engineers, 2 storekeepers, 3 physical trainers, 1 carpenter and 1 dog handler. Similarly, former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was provided with 3 medical assistants, 1 maintenance technician, 6 drivers, 5 clerks, 8 security officers, 13 support staff, 8 chefs, 3 technical specialists, 1 fitness trainer, 6 special professionals and 1 dog handler. In addition, under the entitlements law, the government incurred significant expenses last year for retired presidents and their widows. Former First Lady Hema Premadasa received 2.687 million rupees. Former President Chandrika Kumaratunga received 16.43 million rupees. Mahinda Rajapaksa 54.62 million rupees. Maithripala Sirisena 15.77 million rupees. Gotabaya Rajapaksa 12.28 million rupees and Ranil Wickramasinghe 3.49 million rupees. In total, 98.5 million rupees was spent in 2024 alone under the entitlements law. Following the debate, a second reading was held with regarding the bill in discussion. During the vote, there was no SJB representation in the House. At the second reading of the bill to abolish the privileges of former presidents, the motion received 151 votes in favour. Opposition MP Chamara Sampath Dasanayaka voted against it. Subsequently, at the committee stage, the bill was passed without amendments.
ජනාධිපතිවරයන්ගේ හිමිකම් ඉවත් කිරීමේ පනත් කෙටුම්පත තුන්වන වර කියවා සංශෝධන රහිතව සම්මත වූ බව මෙම සභාවට දන්වනු කැමැත්තෙමි.
What does the law passed today entail? Effective from the commencement date of the law, all entitlements granted to former presidents and their widows, including the monthly pension, secretary allowance, official transport, housing, and any other paid benefits shall be revoked. The Speaker officially endorsed the bill abolishing the privileges of former presidents subsequent to its adoption in Parliament. The provisions of this Act shall come into effect upon its publication in the Government Gazette.
Speaker of Parliament announced that no confidence motion brought by the opposition against State Minister of Defence, retired Major General Aruna Jayasekara, cannot be accepted in its present form. Now, the Speaker made this declaration while delivering his position on the matter.
In response, the Samagi Jana Balawegya expressed strong disagreement with the Speaker's decision, stating that they are now considering bringing forward a no-confidence motion against the Speaker himself.
I also studied the traditions and procedures followed in other Commonwealth and democratic legislations such as UK House of Commons, India's Lok Sabha and Australia's House of Representatives in this regard. Under Articles 42, 43 and 44 of the Constitution of Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, collective and individual ministerial responsibility lies with the Cabinet Ministers. A Deputy Minister, though a Member of Parliament, is not a Member of Cabinet and does not bear direct constitutional responsibility to this House in the present context. The Constitution clearly recognized the no confidence motion may be brought against the government as a whole, while the President recognizes no confidence motions against the Prime Minister or an individual Cabinet Minister and the Leader of the Opposition in Parliament. But there is no provision for such a motion against a Deputy Minister. Therefore, if such a motion is to be accepted today, it would establish an undesirable precedent contrary to constitutional and parliamentary precedents. Accordingly, having taken into consideration of all these facts, I wish to inform this House that the motion of no confidence against the Deputy Minister of Defence is not in order and cannot be accepted in its present form.
You mentioned that a report from the Secretary General's office was called regarding a feasibility of this motion. You also said that you sought the Attorney General's advice to determine whether this no-confidence motion would interfere with judicial proceedings. As far as we know, you have received both reports. We believe that the Attorney General has advised that there is no legal barrier and that the motion does not interfere with the judiciary. Therefore, we request that both reports be tabled in Parliament for our understanding of of the matter.
සභාගත කරන හැටියට අපි ඔබතුමාගෙන් ඉල්ලයි. කර්මන්ත්‍රීතුමා තීරණවල අපිට අධ්‍යයනය කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ අධ්‍යයනය කිරීම වාර්තා ලබා දීමට පුළුවන්.
නියෝජ්‍ය ඇමතිවරයෙක් කියන්නේ විධායකයේ කොටසක්.
A state minister is part of the executive. Bringing a no confidence or censure motion against a state minister is a practice rooted in the Westminster tradition. This is the reference. I'm referring to this. I also wish to draw your attention to Article 45(3) of the Constitution, which provides a broad constitutional framework for presenting such a motion.
ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමේ අවස්ථාව තිබෙනවා.
කිසිම ප්‍රෙසිඩන්සියක් නැහැ ගරු විපක්ෂ නායකතුමා. ඔබතුමා යෝජනා කරනවා නම් මේක.
If you are proposing this as a no confidence motion, then according to standing orders and the Constitution, it cannot be accepted. This is a matter of parliamentary procedure and legal norms. However, if you are bringing this motion in a different form or context, we have no objection. Therefore, we say, play by the rules. If we proceed according to the Speaker's ruling, there is no issue. As the government, we are ready to debate this at any time. Next, Speaker, you were threatened by MP Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, who said that if you do not allow this motion, a no confidence motion will be brought against you. Is this democracy? They cannot defeat you. What I'm trying to say is, was that the official position of the opposition leader? That is, after you studied the matter and issued a ruling, is this now their stance? Is it a threat? We have no issue if you wish to bring any motion against Minister Aruna Jayasekara in accordance with parliamentary procedure. We are ready to debate, but please do not create a tradition of endlessly debating the Speaker's rulings. Parliament does not have that power.
දිගටම විවාද කරන සම්ප්‍රදායක් මෙතන හදන්න එපා. එහෙම බලයක් නැහැ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට. සභානායකතුමා කිව්වා මං තමුන්නාන්සේ විරුද්ධව අපි විශ්වාස භංගයක් ගේනවා කියලා.
The leader of the House said, I threatened to bring a no confidence motion against you. If you do not uphold the democratic rights of the opposition in this parliament, we will be compelled to do so. As far as I know, this is the first time a no confidence motion brought in this parliament has been rejected outright.
මගේ announcement එක අන්තිම ඡේදය ඔබතුමාලා හොඳට කියවන්න. දැන් මේක කියවන්න නැතුව මේ කාරණාව විසඳන්න විදියක් නැහැ.
The wife of Makandre Madush, who was killed while in the custody of the Colombo Crimes Division, filed a complaint today at police headquarters requesting a formal investigation into his death.
The wife of Makandre Madush spoke to the media this morning after filing a complaint at the police headquarters.
අවුරුදු එකමාරක් වගේ කාලයක් පොලිස් අත්අඩංගුවේ ඉඳලා මේ විදිහට මිය ගිය.
He was in police custody for nearly a year and a half. If he had been sentenced and executed by a court, that would have been justice. But to be killed like an animal, there's something seriously wrong. Even the motorcycle linked to another underworld group was found at the scene. Yet, we have received no information about any suspects. It's been 5 years. All we are asking for is justice.
ආධාරණයක් බලාපොරොත්තුව තමයි මේ දේ ඉල්ලීම කරේ.
යම්කිසි පිරිසක් ආශ්‍රය කරා ඒ කට්ටිය ගැනත් එලිතරම් වෙනවයි කියලා තිබුණා. ඒ නිසා ඝාතනය වුණයි කියලා සමාජයේ කතාවේ.
සමාජ කතාවත් එක්ක මටත් ඒ ගැන සැකයක් තියෙනවා. අපිට ඒ කාලේ ඇත්තටම මේ වගේ දෙයකට එළියට ඇවිල්ලා කතා කරන්න මම කොහොමත් කැමති වුණේ නැහැ. වත්මන් ආණ්ඩුවෙන් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා මේ සම්බන්ධව අපිට ඇත්තටම නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරලා සාධාරණයක් ඉෂ්ට කරලා දේවිය කියලා ඒ විශ්වාසෙත් එක්ක තමයි අද මේ වගේ දේවල් වලට මම ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා ඉන්නේ.
මදුස් ලක්ෂිතගේ ඝාතනයක් සමගම
With the killing of Madhush Lakshita, all the information he had revealed to the Criminal Investigation Department for nearly 1.5 years regarding influential politicians, police officers and other individuals now appears to have been suppressed. There is growing suspicion that this murder was carried out with the intention of silencing those revelations.
නිසා මේක කරා බවට සැකයක් තමයි ඇත්තටම ඇති වෙන්නේ.
Police announced that Makandre Madush, who was in the custody of the Colombo Crime Division, was killed in a shootout near a housing complex in Maligawatta, Colombo on the morning of the 20th of October 2020. Earlier on the 5th of February 2019, Madush had been arrested in Dubai and was later deported to Sri Lanka. He was taken into custody by the Criminal Investigation Department at Katunayaka on the 5th of May of the same year. After being held under detention orders for nearly 1.5 years, he was handed over to the Colombo Crime Division on the 16th of October 2020. 4 days later, while being taken to a location in Maligawatta where drugs were reportedly hidden, Madush was killed during the operation. Meanwhile, Deputy Minister Mahinda Jayasinghe revealed details about a group with whom Madush had maintained close ties in Parliament yesterday.
All of Madush's secrets have been buried. Questions remain over what happened to the assets worth more than ₹1 billion that were in his possession. It is said that Madush had revealed the names of around 80 politicians linked to these rackets, but those names were reportedly suppressed and hidden by Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his associates. To this day, those revelations remain a secret.
During yesterday's Satana political program, Samagi Janabalawege MP, Attorney at Law Ajit P. Pereira also expressed his views regarding the death of Markandure Madush.
දැන් අපේ මේ ගෙනාපු ළමයෙක්ව වෙඩි තියලා මරනවනේ ඇතුලේදී මේ කවුද මාකන්දරේ මදුෂ් එතකොට ඒ නම් ලයිස්තුවක් ඉදිරිපත් කරපු නිසා කියලා කියනවා. එතකොට ඒකත් මේ යටතේම විත් අර වගේ අපදීමක් වගේ එකක්ද? ඒ ප්‍රතිඵලය ගැන මම හිතන්නේ හැමෝම සන්තෝෂයිනේ. වෙච්ච ක්‍රියාදාමය ඒ කියන්නේ රටේ අපරාධකාරයෙක් ජීවිතුන් අතර නැති එක ගැන සන්තෝෂයි මට නෑ. දැන් ඔබතුමා කියනවානේ මේ මදුෂ් ඝාතනය කරපු එක ගැන ජීවිතුන් අතර නැති එක ගැන සන්තෝෂයි. රටේ අපරාධකාරයෝ ජීවිතුන් අතර නැති එක ගැන මට සන්තෝෂයි. සන්තෝෂයි. හරි. ඒ වගේ මාකන්දුරේ මදුෂ් අපරාධකාරයෙක් බව මම දන්නවා.
A vehicle belonging to Sampath Manamperi, who is reportedly waiting police over the discovery of chemicals used to produce the narcotic named crystal methamphetamine on a plot of land in Midenia, has been seized by the Abelopitia police. Now, the vehicle was reportedly parked in a garage.
Former Pradesh Sabha member of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, P.L. Senadira, and his father are currently in police custody in relation to the discovery of these chemicals. The two containers in question were brought to Midenia on the 29th of January this year and were in the custody of Sampath Manamperi, who is currently missing. The containers were spotted parked near the Talava Central College along the main road from Talava to Gonadenia. Kehalbadra Padme, who is currently in police custody, had previously revealed details about a crystal methamphetamine production facility in Nuwara earlier this month. Meanwhile, the police, along with Bako Saman, who is also in custody, visited Sampath Manamperi's residence in Midenia. Police suspect that the contents of the two containers were moved using several tractors to a plot of land located about 500 meters away, reportedly owned by the Manamperi family. This is a video recording of that moment captured on a mobile phone. Who is Sampath Manamperi? Sampath Manamperi and P.L. Manamperi are brothers. Both are active regional politicians affiliated with the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. Sampath Manamperi, who previously served as a police security officer, had also at one time been assigned to provide security for former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. In his tenure, Sampath Manamperi was accused of several incidents involving abduction and murder. One such incident was the abduction and extortion-related murder of prominent businessman Sri Skandaraja, the owner of Kala Traders. Following the murder of Skandaraja, a leading importer based in Petta, investigations are now focused on the impact of his death on his business empire as well as those who may have benefited from it. Sampath Manamperi was also accused in the murder of former Member of Parliament and prominent politician Nadaraja Raviraj. However, with the intervention of the Attorney General, he was turned into a state witness. In 2016, the High Court acquitted all suspects from the case. The matter is currently under review at the Court of Appeal. On the 18th of February this year, the man known as Middeniye Kajja and his two children were murdered. Bako Saman and Tambili Lahiru have been accused of orchestrating the deaths. According to investigation teams, Bako Saman was previously employed as a bus driver which was owned by Sampath Manamperi. Meanwhile, video footage has now emerged showing a lorry transporting chemicals to the house that had been rented for the production lab for crystal methamphetamine in Nuwara, as previously revealed by Kehalbadra Padme. The owner of the house had objected to the transportation of these materials to the rented property, prompting their removal. It has since been revealed that the lorry belongs to a close associate of Panadura Nilanga.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Nama Rajapaksa has sent a letter of demand for compensation of ₹1 billion from Deputy Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs, Attorney at Law Sunil Watagala. This letter was sent based on the facts revealed by the Deputy Minister involving the Manamperi brothers who own the Midenia land where the stock of suspected materials for the production of the drug ice was hidden.
Following the discoveries made in mid-the-year, Deputy Minister Sunil Watagala made this disclosure in Homagama last Saturday.
මේ කන්ටේනර් දෙකේ අයිතිකාරුවොත් එක්ක හිටපු දේශපාලන මහත්තුරු.
These are the political figures who were with the owners of these two containers. Who is this? These are all politicians. If these chemicals had been released into society, it wouldn't have been just Homagama that was destroyed. The entire country would have been wiped out. But as you can see from all these photographs, who is this? A gentleman who was making a lot of noise just the other day. These individuals are the ones behind this drug supply chain. Therefore, several investigations are now underway and we will conduct them without regard for rank or status.
ඒ පරීක්ෂණාමුවේ තරාතිරම නොබලා මේ පරීක්ෂණ අපි කරනවා.
Member of Parliament Namal Rajapaksa has dismissed the Deputy Minister's statement, labelling it as false, hateful and insulting.
පුද්ගලයින් සමාජයේ බොරු වපුරලා
Individuals are spreading falsehood in society, creating social animosity and turning leaders who work for and love this country into thieves and liars. For this reason, we have decided that from now on, if any person makes a false statement against the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna or any of its leaders, we will take firm legal action against all of them. Through a special group of legal experts, this morning we initiated legal proceedings against an individual who, by fraudulently showing photographs of MP Namal Rajapaksa, made a baseless and malicious attempt to implicate him in a drug business. We have sent a letter of demand through registered post seeking 1 billion rupees in compensation. Just as we have done with Sunil Watagala today, we will continue to take this action against falsehoods from now on.
අපි මින් ඉදිරියට බොරුවට විරුද්ධ මේ කාරණය කරනවා.
Deputy Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs Attorney at Law Sunil Watagala made the following remarks in Parliament today.
එතුමා දාන්න යන්නේ අපහාස නඩුවක්. එතුමා උසාවියේ ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරේ නැති නිසා දන්නේ නැතුව ඇති අපහාස නඩුවක ස්වභාවය.
He plans to file a defamation case. I believe the individual in question may not be familiar with legal procedure, possibly due to not having practiced law in court. In a defamation case, the accused has the right to question the complainant on any matter, unlike in most other types of legal proceedings. It's only the type of case where questions unrelated to the main subject can be asked. That's why this gentleman, who lives in a glass house, is now pointing fingers at us, claiming he has sent a letter of demand asking for 1 billion rupees. I printed a copy of this letter from social media, the only piece of evidence presented, and now the focus has shifted, reflecting his character. It's a character issue. The gentleman wants his character to be protected. So then, according to his own records, he claims to have obtained a law degree from the City University in England. Filed the case at the Colombo District Court on the 25th. I intend to ask him several cross-examination questions. The questions I intend to ask are: 1. Did you meet the minimum qualifications required to enter the law college? 2. Is your law degree from the UK a legitimate, accredited qualification? 3. Did you sit for the final exam at law college in a separate room? Does that make you qualified to hold this title? 4. Are you or your family members connected to multiple deaths including Tajuddin, Lasantha Wickramatunge and Eknaligoda? 5. Was Julampitiya Amare Namal Rajapaksa's bodyguard? 6. And finally, my last question. Did your father embrace Nimal Lanza under the pretext of providing security when the STF was pursuing him? These are the cross-examination questions I will ask. So I say this clearly, file the case within 14 days. Otherwise, do you know what I'll do? I will submit a motion and I will demand damages. That's what you should understand.
මම කියනවා අනිවාර්යෙන් තව දින 14කින් නඩුව දාන්න. නැත්තම් මම මොකක්ද කරන්නේ? නඩුවක තියෙනවා හරස්සිල්ලීම කියලා එකක්. මම ඉල්ලනවා ඕගොල්ලන්ගෙන් වන්දි. අන්න එක දැනගන්න.
Newsfirst with the people.
Case file.
Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanga S. Modaragamu ordered Saban Lal Fernando, the former mayor of Moratua, who was taken into custody by the Commission to investigate allegations on bribery or corruption, to be remanded until the 23rd of September. The order was made earlier today.
The suspect, who was taken into custody by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, was presented before the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court this afternoon. Appearing on behalf of the Commission, Inspector of Police U.P. Vikramarachi stated that the suspect had caused financial loss to the state by making unlawful payments to his associates, violating financial regulations in connection with 112 development project contracts under Maganaguma Urban and Rural Road Development Project at the Moratua Municipal Council. Having considered the facts presented, Chief Magistrate Asanga S. Bodharagama ordered that all relevant documents pertaining to the investigation be taken into custody by the Bribery Commission. The magistrate also directed the Commission to update the court of the progress of the investigation. Accordingly, the suspect was remanded until the 23rd of September. Case file. Former Navy Commander Admiral Nishantha Ulugethanna has been further remanded until the 24th of September. This order was issued when he was presented before the Polgahawela Magistrates Court today via Zoom. Admiral Ulugethanna was taken into custody by the Criminal Investigation Department in connection with an investigation into the abduction and murder of a person in Potuhara. At the time of the alleged incident in 2010, Nishantha Ulugethanna was serving as the head of Naval Intelligence, and police investigations have revealed that the illegal detention center where the abducted individual was reportedly held operated under his command.
A court order was issued today because on the previous date, a request had been made by the defense to release the 11th suspect, former Navy Commander Nishantha Ulugethanna. Both parties, the CID and the defense, presented extensive submissions regarding that request. After considering those arguments, the magistrate issued an order rejecting the request to grant bail to the suspect today.
Case file. Colombo High Court Judge Lanka Jayaratne ordered the case filed against former Health Minister Keheliya Ramukwella, his wife, 3 daughters and son-in-law in connection with allegations of illegally acquiring assets to be recalled on the 15th of September. When the case was taken up, President's Counsel Kalinga Indathissa and Attorney-at-Law Kanchana Ratwatha, appearing for the defence, informed the court that they had not yet received all relevant documents pertaining to the case. At that point, the judge inquired about the matter from the prosecution. The State Counsel, appearing on behalf of the complainant, stated that all documents had been filed at the time the indictments were served. After considering the submissions, the judge ordered the case to be recalled on the 15th of September.
A fire had broken out this evening in an empty fuel tank at the Sabugaskanda refinery that was being renovated. According to the fire department, 5 fire trucks were deployed to douse the fire. The fire had erupted in a fuel tank with a capacity of 50,000 metric tons. The Sri Lanka core group has moved a resolution at the United Nations Human Rights Council session in Geneva.
The Sri Lanka core group, comprising Canada, Malawi, Montenegro, North Macedonia and the United Kingdom, has officially tabled a resolution at the 60th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, or the UNHRC, urging Sri Lanka to take concrete steps toward reconciliation, accountability and the protection of human rights. The resolution, titled Promoting Reconciliation, Accountability and Human Rights in Sri Lanka, builds on previous UNHRC actions and reflects growing international concern over unresolved human rights violations, governance failures and the need for inclusive democratic reform in the country. The resolution acknowledges the successful conduct of presidential, parliamentary and local elections in 2024 and 2025, while urging further devolution of political authority in line with the 13th Amendment to Sri Lanka's constitution. It welcomes efforts to address the economic crisis, but stresses the need to tackle root causes such as corruption, militarization, impunity and lack of accountability. The resolution calls for a comprehensive accountability process for violations committed by all parties, including the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam or LTTE, and urges investigations into emblematic cases and the Easter Sunday bombings. It takes note of the government's commitment to repeal the Prevention of Terrorism Act and the appointment of a committee to examine its repeal, while expressing concern that detentions under the law continue. Urges the government to apply a moratorium on the use of the law to expedite its repeal and to ensure that any legislation on combating terrorism complies fully with the state's obligations arising from international law. It also welcomes the government's commitment to amend the Online Safety Act and the appointment of a committee to formulate amendments to the law, while acknowledging concerns about the Act's absence of judicial oversight and broad definition of offences and enforcement powers, and encourages the government to expedite its amendment to ensure the Act fully complies with the state's international obligations to protect the right to freedom of opinion and expression. The resolution highlights unresolved cases of enforced disappearances, the existence of mass graves, and the need for international support to strengthen the Office on Missing Persons. The resolution seeks to extend the mandate of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights to continue monitoring and reporting on Sri Lanka's progress. It requests oral and written updates at future UNHRC sessions, culminating in a comprehensive report at the Council's 60th session. Sri Lanka called for recognition of its domestic progress in human rights and urged the Council to reconsider punitive mechanisms that risk deepening divisions. Speaking during the general debate at the United Nations Human Rights Council session in Geneva, the country's representative emphasized that many nations have acknowledged the tangible improvements made on the ground.
Mr. President, Sri Lanka appreciates the acknowledgement by many countries during the interactive dialogue on Sri Lanka of the evident progress on the ground. The UNGA Resolution 60/251, which founded the HRC, indicates that the Council shall promote universal respect for the protection of all human rights without distinction and with impartiality and proportionality. Progress made in country-specific situations must be acknowledged, and a way out of the Council's agenda must be created for countries that have made substantial progress. Punitive mechanisms have proven unproductive and lead to further divisions and confrontations. We reiterate that the external evidence gathering mechanism on Sri Lanka within the OHCHR is an unprecedented ad hoc expansion of the OHCHR's mandate, which prejudges the domestic legal processes. There is no mechanism under the IB package that allows for this kind of unilateral external mechanism to be imposed on a sovereign government. Sri Lanka has made progressive strides toward protecting and promoting human rights and will continue to do so. We call upon the Council to afford time and space required to realize these objectives through domestic processes.
A new World Bank review of Sri Lanka's public finances says the country is now well positioned to focus on making public finances work better for all Sri Lankans.
The World Bank says Sri Lanka has made remarkable strides in stabilizing its economy, undertaking one of the largest fiscal adjustments in its history, equal to nearly 8% of GDP over 3 years. The adjustment was also sharper and faster by international standards when compared with more than 330 similar efforts in 123 countries worldwide since 1980. The World Bank's Sri Lanka Public Finance Review towards a balanced fiscal adjustment finds that while fiscal measures helped restore stability, they also put pressure on households through higher indirect taxes and reduced real public sector wages and slowed growth due to lower public investment. It added that the next phase of fiscal calibration should prioritize raising revenues in ways that support growth and fairness and improve the quality of government spending. The review recommends raising revenue more fairly and efficiently, shifting toward direct taxes such as a minimum corporate income tax, and digitizing tax administration to make paying taxes easier and more transparent. It also calls for improving public sector wage management by protecting essential frontline services, simplifying pay structures, and modernizing systems through which public sector workers are paid. Sri Lanka and India inked an agreement for the construction of an emergency unit at the Manor Hospital. The Government of India has signed an agreement with the Government of Sri Lanka to support the construction and equipping of a new emergency and trauma care unit at the Mana District General Hospital. The agreement was formalized on the 9th of September 2025 at the Ministry of Health and Mass Media, with the participation of Sri Lanka's Minister of Health, Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, and Indian High Commissioner Santosh Jha. The signing ceremony also included senior officials from both governments and representatives from the Indian High Commission. Under the agreement, the Government of India will allocate 600 million rupees for the project, which is expected to be completed within 3 years. This project is a direct response to a request made by the Sri Lankan government.
Kalin Popular Awards 2025 was held in Colombo this evening. Sirasa TV, Newsfirst, Sirasa FM, YFM and Gamadda were awarded multiple accolades during the ceremony.
The Kalin Popular Awards was held for the third year, recognizing excellence across television, radio and other media. The ceremony was attended by numerous invited guests, including artists and distinguished personalities. Julia Sonali and Heshan Mallava from Sirasa TV were honored as the most popular TV program duo of the year. The most popular political program of the year was awarded to Satana, broadcast on Sirasa TV. Windana Prasad Karunaratna of Newsfirst received the award for the most popular male news presenter of the year. The award for the most popular female news presenter of the year went to Sarasi Piris of Newsfirst. The award for the most popular humanitarian initiative of the year was presented to Gamadda. Sirasa TV was recognized as the most popular youth media channel. Binoli Jayamali of Sirasa FM received the award for the most popular female radio presenter of the year. The award for the most popular male radio presenter of the year was won by Lakmal Sirivardhana of YFM. Avishka Induvini and Ishan Devendra of YFM were honored as the most popular radio program duo of the year. YFM was recognized as the most popular radio channel of the year.
A semblance of normalcy returned to Nepal's capital Kathmandu after 2 days of massive protests that turned violent following the deaths of 25 people and over 600 injured.
The Nepal Army has taken charge of security with military personnel deployed across the capital. Over the past 2 days, protests in Nepal escalated quickly into violence and the storming of government buildings. Shocking visuals have surfaced showing a multi-story hotel engulfed in flames and reduced to a charred shell after being set on fire during Tuesday's Delhi Gen Z protests. The five-star hotel in Kathmandu appeared blackened and charred with burnt windows, smoke stains and structural damage. As a result of the protests, the UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office has confirmed that there have been a number of casualties in Nepal and has advised travellers to avoid protests. Flight operations between India and Nepal came to a halt on Tuesday after Tribhuvan International Airport, also known as the TIA in Kathmandu, was forced to shut down amid escalating violence in the country, grounding hundreds of passengers and cancelling multiple services, including at least 6 from Delhi. Sri Lankan Airlines has also announced the temporary suspension of all flights to Nepal following the closure of Tribhuvan International Airport due to escalating unrest and safety concerns. Kathmandu's Tribhuvan International Airport, which had earlier been closed indefinitely, has now resumed operations. In an appeal on X, the army said prohibitory orders would remain in force until Thursday morning, adding that relevant parties were coordinating to tackle the situation after the protests and resolve the issue. Media also said preparations were being made for authorities and protesters to hold talks without giving details. Former Supreme Court Judge Balaram Kesi urged the protesters to set up a negotiation team with the army helping to maintain law and order and called for fresh elections. Armed soldiers guarded the streets of Nepal's capital on Wednesday, ordering people to stay home in an attempt to restore order after tens of thousands of protesters stormed and set fire to government buildings and attacked politicians. Soldiers with weapons guarding the main areas of Kathmandu appeared to give some sense of control, returning to the city that was overtaken by violence and chaos in previous days. The army warned in an announcement late Tuesday that the security forces were committed to preserving law and order. The army is rally mobilized and so far had stayed in its barracks, but police have failed to control the situation. Soldiers told people in Kathmandu that the curfew was valid and checked vehicles and people. The army in a statement said 21 suspected looters had been arrested.
The second game of the Asia Cup 2025 between India and the UAE is underway in Dubai. The encounter between the sides is under Group A.
India and UAE last met in 2016, where India emerged victorious, winning the game by 9 wickets. Following their game in 2016 at the Asia Cup, this is the first time they take each other on. Played in Dubai, the game kicked off at 8 p.m. Sri Lankan time. All matches will be broadcast live on TV1 of the Sirasa Media Network, the official local broadcaster of the Asia Cup, and on www.sirasatv.lk. Sri Lanka Cricket announced a 15-member squad for the ICC Women's World Cup 2025. The side will be captained by veteran Chamari Athapattu. The Women's World Cup will be played in India and Sri Lanka from the 30th September to the 2nd of November.
And that's a wrap of your news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.